My name is Phil Hauser. I am founder and CEO of DSI. We are a technology company based throughout the state of New Mexico and El Paso, Texas. But before I get started, again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for the experiences that I have had in EAGA. Some of you are new to EAGA, and let me tell you, I can honestly tell you that it has been a tremendous experience. I'm approaching 10 years with EAGA, and there were times where I needed a pep talk. I needed, I'd had a tough week, a bad day, whatever the case may be, and just hearing somebody's story and what they went through to overcome, whether it's Dale from TLC, starting his business out of the back of his pickup truck or what have you, and you look at the magnitude of where he is today. But it's experiences like that really just keep you motivated, and just the camaraderie, the friendships, everything that comes along with it. I like to think that we have a couple of very key elements in our core values that speak to that, which are community and partnership. Two key elements in our business that I think are resident in EAGA, because it is about community and it is about partnership. And so I just appreciate the friendships that have been established through this organization, but also the professional side as well. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. In the past, I've spoken primarily on the business, but I want to give you a little background on me personally. I was born and raised here in Albuquerque in 1961 here at Presbyterian. I'm one of three siblings. I'm in the middle, so I'm the peacemaker. I'm an older brother, younger sister. But I want to speak to you about my dad. My dad was truly one of my heroes in my lifetime. He passed way too early. He was my best friend. He was 53 years old when he passed away. He died from esophageal cancer. But I think today they've progressed so much that potentially he would be alive if that would have happened in today's time frame, just how much that's progressed. But he's truly one of my heroes. He was the ultimate entrepreneur. He lived life big in so many different ways. So while he died early, he didn't leave too much on the table. But my mom was also one of my heroes too, because she's probably one of the calmest people that I've ever met. She's one of the kindest, most considerate people on the face of the earth. And I've never heard her even say a cuss word. I mean, she just is that sweet. So anyway, my mom's fantastic. In fact, she worked inside the business for a number of years in our payables and worked with a lot of our vendors. She, up until COVID, came in every couple of days and handled a lot of my personal things and just got her out of the house and so forth. But COVID kind of has stopped all that. So we'll see afterwards. God, of course, is first and foremost. Billy Graham is another person that really I respect and admire because of the values, and he not only talked the talk, but he walked the talk. He was just to set so many good principles for you to live by. And another man that made a huge impression in my life is Steve Kunkel, a local guy that started out in the ministry, but because he had 5 kids, he got another job and he started work at State Farm. But he really counseled me through my younger years and helped me navigate through some tough times. And that's another just a really godly man that tries to live by the principles of Christ. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about my dad because I think I like to say that I brought a lot of the good qualities that he had. He had a lot of vision. His enthusiasm for business was just amazing. He did a lot with very little. I can remember the house that we lived in up off of Wyoming. That was it. I mean, you went beyond Wyoming, there was nothing, right? So we lived in a 1 or 2 bedroom house at that point. And of course, as a young dad, he was just trying to get by, trying to make it. And he worked for a company called ICX. He was in the transportation business. And from there, he had a vision to sell real estate. And so he got into the real estate industry and started selling land development up at Coach T. And if anybody knows about Coach T, it's on tribal land. You will never own that for a lifetime. Or you may in your lifetime, but it goes back to the tribe after 100 years. So I can't imagine buying something that I couldn't pass down to generations, right? And so for him to be able to sell that concept to me, if you can sell that, you can sell anything, right? He was very successful at it. He just really enjoyed the aspect of socializing, barbecues. I mean, you guys know Teresa and I, we love to throw a party and we love to socialize. I think I got a lot of that from him. But he went from there up to another real estate location up in the northern part of the state. It's called Panda Rey, New Mexico. And it's about 20 miles north of Las Vegas. And same kind of thing, they were building resort properties, summer and winter homes for people. And so it was truly one of the best 2.5 years of my growing up, because it was total outdoors, had my own horse, stream outside my backyard, so we were fishing all the time. It was just an amazing time, and it was truly the time that taught me how to respect the outdoors, but my love for the outdoors. We lived in Rociela, which is a Spanish village just outside of Panda Rey. And the house that we lived in had, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 wood stoves in it. Every room had a wood stove in it. And the wood stove in the kitchen heated our water supply, which was a 20-gallon water tank. And so not a whole lot of hot water. And so when you wanted to take a bath, you were in about 2 inches of water, because everybody had to share in that love. But aside from that, I don't know how many cords of wood that I chopped, but it was a lot during that era. When we finished up there, I was heartbroken because I absolutely adored it up there. I loved it up there. One of the other things that I was going to tell you is my dad owned a jewelry store. So after we left Panda Rey, he came back to Albuquerque. And I think with the last $500 that he had in his pocket, he started a turquoise business. And we started stringing turquoise nuggets in our house. We had all the neighborhood kids, and we were stringing nuggets. And that's when the turquoise craze just really went off the charts, was back in the early 70s. And so that was kind of the catalyst for getting that business started. And before you know it, he had close to 100 people manufacturing jewelry at one time. But we went through the boom, and then we also went through the bust. So it was difficult in that retail aspect of business. But my dad was so passionate about his business and, you know, integrity, honesty, doing really things the right way. And if you weren't, he'd take it into his own hands. So I was working the counter one afternoon after I'd gotten out of school. I went to Taft first. And so it was right across the street. His store was right on 4th Street next to Mark's gun shop. Mark, you probably know where that dance studio is, but that was where my dad's store was. So I was working the counter, and we used to serve coffee to the patrons that would come in, and he asked me for a cup of coffee. So I had to go behind an area that I couldn't see, but we went behind the area, came back, gave him a cup of coffee, and learned that he was stealing some fetishes. He had put some fetishes in his top pocket. And so I had no idea how to deal with something like that, because I'd never had to deal with that. And so I waited till he got outside, and I said, "Dad, this guy's ripped us off." My dad hit the door faster than you can ever imagine. He went to that guy's car. He was in his car, started his car, got him by the hair, and just started beating the heck out of him. And, you know, it was obviously a little extreme, but then this guy's trying to get back out on 4th Street, and he's ramming the car that's in back of him. So my dad runs back in to grab his .38, grabs his .38, and he's in the middle of the road, just like he's in the Wild West. So he truly was a modern day rebel. Been on a collection call with him where we went to do a collection, and he owed my dad quite a bit of money. And so he ended up shooting his .38 into his floor and said, "I want my dang money by Friday." And it probably wasn't dang, you know, I just tell you. He used to carry a Derringer everywhere he went too. He had, you know, if you're in the jewelry business, you're gonna carry a gun, right? but he had his Derringer and he was flipping around for his keys to open up the shop. He drops the gun. It goes off right in front of us, right in front of our face. He looks over and he goes, "Don't tell your mom." It was pretty funny. But my dad was, he truly was the ultimate entrepreneur. I think at one time he had bought a hotel up in Silverton, bought a logging company. If he could have channeled some of that focus and energy, I think he would have, I think that's one of the things I've tried to do is channel. But I think that it's given me the ability to be able to take a risk. When I was met in an airport to reassign me when I was working for corporate America, it gave me the ability to say, you know what? I don't need to go to work for corporate anymore. Let's try something new, and gave me the strength to be able to just go out on my own and start a business from absolute scratch. Had I not had that experience of growing up in a family-owned business where I saw my dad take risks and be able to go after it, I'm not certain, because we already had 4 kids. So 4 kids, a certain style of living, and I was able to just go for it. Just go for it, right? And what we have today is a result of the ability to take a risk and go for it. We decided we'd take our retirement, or our 401k at that time, and we started Document Solutions Incorporated in a 10 by 10 office, literally 23, 24 years ago. Not one customer. And we built this business, as you see today, with 6 offices here in the state of New Mexico and 1 office in El Paso. But the foundation was a cartridge manufacturing company. Kind of saw a vision for that, and it really ended up being the catalyst for who we are today, because we started out on the print side, which everything started being printed, right? It wasn't copied anymore. And so because we were really experts on the print side, it really gave us a leg up on what you see as our company today. DSI, the core engine of our company, which is imaging, digital copiers, printers, anything that prints, managed print services, and then we have several software applications as a result of that. So as you see us today, I mean, we've morphed into so much more than just imaging. And while imaging is still the revenue producing division of DSI, we have pivoted and we've grown into several different areas. We opened an IT company about 5 years ago, and it's probably the fastest, if not one of the fastest growing divisions in our company. We have approximately 12, 13 people in that department, and we manage about 4,000 PCs statewide through so managed network services, desktop support. One of our largest clients is Tricor Reference Laboratories, and we support all of their desktop support throughout the state, all of their clinics. But what spun off of that and what grew out of that was we were at a Konica Minolta event about 5 years ago, and they were introducing a company called Mobonics. And at that time, because we support almost 50% of the schools here in New Mexico, we have that kind of market share in education. All of our clients in that space were saying, hey, we need to prepare and get ready for the active shooter. We need to make safer environments for our schools. And so we came back and we're like, how do we do this? And just so happened we had a person on board that had been in the space of alarm systems and security, and that's Joe Thady. And so we kind of just said, hey, this is what we need to be in. And so we started a security division. And so now we do anything under that umbrella with the exception of fire. So we do doors, intrusion, access control, camera solutions, and now with COVID, of course, it's brought a whole nother application, which is temperature detection. So we have a thermal technology that we've introduced and that we can't even keep on the shelf at this point. If we were just relying on the imaging part of our business, we would be in a big world of hurt right now. So we've got 2 areas that are just taking off, growing like crazy. Imaging is still growing, but because I think as a result of the diversification that we put forth in our company. So getting back to my family, I went to Valley High School, and that's where I met the love of my life, my best friend, the foundation of our household, which is Teresa. We've been married 35 years. We celebrated 35 years last year. We dated 8 years prior to our wedding. So we've literally known each other for 43 years, right? Pretty amazing. I was telling you that I'm a Valley Viking, and I met my wife in a typing class. I was jock at heart. I loved to play sports. So it didn't matter if it was soccer, baseball, basketball, football, loved all of it. But I ended up wrestling at Valley, placed 4th in state. And then baseball became my passion. And so I loved to play baseball. I was all city, all conference, and then became athlete of the year my senior year at Valley. From there, I knew that I was going to play somewhere. I just didn't know where. And I ended up going to Trinidad State Junior College. I played there for 2 years, and that was just baseball 24/7. That's all we did. In fact, the coach was so nuts up there. It was, if you know Trinidad, it snows up there quite a bit. He would take gasoline, and it was a skin field, and he would spread gasoline on the infield, and then he would burn it off so we could play in the winter. It was nuts. But from there, I was recruited to play at TCU. Or actually, I followed Teresa because she was there in Dallas. And I ended up walking on at TCU, and then ended up getting a scholarship there for the time that I was there at TCU. That was truly such a great experience, but an eye-opening experience, because once you get there, you know that everybody is just as good as you are. Played against Roger Clemens, Spike Owens, Kevin Schiraldi, and a number of very prolific players that went on to play and have very successful careers. But after my college career was over, I moved back to Albuquerque, and that's when I went to work for corporate America. I want to go back to my family and tell you a little bit about my family. We have 4 kids. Our oldest is Lauren. You see on the left-hand side there, left-hand upper corner. She's the vice principal. She's in education. Smart as could be, and they're very fortunate to have her. Very independent, very strong. I feel sorry for these men that have married my daughters, because they are tough ladies and they're a handful. So I appreciate all of them. Nick, he's my son-in-law they just got married during COVID. They were scheduled to be married in December, but of course everything changed. And so they've gotten married and bought a new house all in the last 4 months, and no one's been there to celebrate with them. So we're going up in the next week or so to celebrate with them. My next oldest is Jocelyn, who a lot of you have met already through our meetings and so forth. She's in the company. She's VP of Sales. She runs our IT company and has really helped revolutionize our company. Scott Gorman, I think some of you have met. He used to be a part of EAGA. But he works in his family business as well. And then baby Grace. Our next is Alec and Tessa. Alec works in the business. He's probably going to break every sales record in our company. He's that talented, he's that good, and doing great things. But married Tessa Turcotte, and they have our grandson, baby Steele. Those two are less than 12 days apart. They're 17 months old, and they've got other babies on the way. So both of them do. So they won't be that close. They're going to be about 3 months apart. So pretty cool. Preston, our 4th child, is just graduated from CSU a couple years ago. Started with a data analytics company, and he's doing great guns. He too was a heck of an athlete. I mean, he played soccer. He was all city, all conference. Played on a club team that went to regionals year after year. They were state champions. I mean, it's just a really, really great career playing soccer. But now again, he's leading a team for this data analytics company, and just really doing a great job. Proud of all our children. We're huge Packer fans. our entire family. I adopted the Packers when I was in grade school and was fortunate enough to brainwash all of them into believing in the Cheeseheads. So we have a great time. We just socialize and we're back and forth, whether we're in the same room or texting each other during the game. It's pretty fun. So I've talked a little bit about family and me. The things that I just absolutely enjoy and love doing are, I love the outdoors. I love being on the stream, fishing in the fifth wheel. We bought a fifth wheel from Terry at Rocky Mountain RV, and I didn't know we were going to have this much fun. I mean, it's a blast. And so we're just getting started with that. And that was pre-COVID too. So it's even more relevant now that, you know, we've experienced COVID. But love to play golf. Golf game's suffering a little bit. I think it's finally coming out of COVID, but love to play golf. I played men's league soccer up until about 5 years ago. Broke my collarbone. I said, okay, I better stop playing. Everything else is intact. I better stop while I'm ahead. But I love to compete. Love to ski, golf, fish, just the outdoors, you know. It's a big part of me. And one of our goals is to have a ranch here in the next 3 years in the northern corridor. Ideally, if we can get back to Panda Ray in that area, it'd be pretty cool. You know, I told you my dad was kind of a risk taker. He just would, on a whim, he would take off and go somewhere. In Australia, we were there and I got a chance to bungee jump off where bungee jumping was actually founded. And it was pretty crazy. I think I would enjoy it much more the second time around, because the first time you're like, what did I get myself into? But it was really a cool experience. So they actually have the calculations based on your weight and everything else. They know exactly how to set it to where you can touch the water. And I dove out so far that it took the slack up that I just missed it by like 12 inches. But you know, we love to travel. I mean, Italy is probably one of our favorite countries to visit. It's just, I love the culture, the lifestyle. It's really phenomenal. In fact, we celebrated our 25th and our 35th wedding anniversary in Italy. We also like to have a good glass of wine. We at least make it back to Napa at least one time, you know, one time a year. And we belong to several different wineries that we've gotten to know over the years. So it's just kind of fun to know this history and how they started, and well, it's pretty cool. My name is Phil Hauser. I am founder and CEO of DSI.